The following podcast contains adult language. Ooh, scary. Listener discretion is advised.
We'll give it our all. Everything we've got is going into this. You know what, Kevin?
20. I'll give it 20.
This is going to be the best podcast we've ever done. I couldn't even say the word podcast, but this is going to be the best podcast we've ever done. The Codcast. Jesus Christ.
Podpast.
Podpast. Pederass.
I like Codpast.
Codpast works better than Pederass.
Very good.
Yeah.
The best Codpast. Welcome to Pixels and Puppets, the Operation Puppet Podcast, the only podcast to combine the subjects of gaming, tech, media, and puppets for no easily explainable reason. It is July 3rd, 2026. You are the internet. I am Kevin Blades. My pronouns are he, him, and this is episode 13, I think. I think it's 13. It might be 14. I don't know if I can't remember if I updated the notes, but if not, it's 13 or 14, probably 13 of season 4 of Pixels and Puppets, the Operation Puppet Podcast. Joining me is my co-host. His pronouns are he, him. It's Andrew, aka Bad Phantom.
The current environmental conditions are excessive, are they not? The exterior temperature is elevated globally.
It's like I'm hosting a podcast with like an alien from a 1950s film.
Yes, well, look, Morbo is still one of the great characters ever created for media. The Morbo is. And how are your children, Morbo? Belligerent and numerous.
Tonight at 11.
Doom. Oh fuck! Such a great. I gotta say I have not watched any of the rebooted fucking Futurama episodes.
Nor have I.
And what's fascinating to me is that they have had absolutely no cultural impact since its return. Mm-hmm. I have not heard of a single moment from the show going viral or anybody talking about it. Nobody talks about it. Everybody's super fucking chuffed that it's there, but nobody gives a shit.
Well, and there's also like the King of the Hill reboot.
Yeah, same.
And the thing is, I think the reason is not necessarily because the shows are bad or whatever. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I'm sure they're fine.
Nobody's seen them because they're all on these like sectioned off streaming platforms.
Right.
Now, right.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not in wide release anymore.
In Canada, they're both on Disney Plus, but still,
yeah.
It's
the point is any like exclusive streaming service is not going to be the broad range that everything had before.
But it's crazy that, I mean, again, we're happy that they're there. Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's enjoying themselves. And at some point, I think I will probably try to watch the bulk of them. I mean, I loved King of the Hill when it was on. I'm not super interested in the continuing adventures, but it's fine. And it's there. And if it turns out that they're great, then I can eventually pick it up and watch them.
It's to me, it smells like another grab for the nostalgia money.
Right? Oh yeah,
and I have no interest in that. So.
And like I say though, as long as people are getting paid and people we love are getting some cash out of it, then that's
get paid.
They're not violating the history of these shows at all. They are very happily continuing. Look, the people that created them are involved in the new season.
If I had a successful show, you're damn right I would keep it going as long as I possibly could. I would sign any fucking deal I needed to like make that thing continue.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Yes, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yes, Andrew. Yes, Morbo. It's hot.
I went to the cottage last week.
Andrew went to a cottage.
I was
for the uninitiated. A cottage is a place is a smaller house away from the house that you live in.
Correct.
That is in the wilderness somewhere.
Right. My friend's cottage is.
This is my imperfect understanding of cottages.
It's pretty accurate. My friend's cottage is at Wasaga Beach. They were lovely enough to invite my friend and I out, and we stayed the weekend. I mean, we went up Friday and left on Sunday morning, so it was, and that was good. It was a taste, got away, got to enjoy a little taste of cottage life. Finally got to see their place, and then their neighbor's cottage is up for sale. Oh, that's interesting. $750,000. This is a fully.
I don't know why you're surprised at any cost
anymore.
Like
I still feel like a cottage is supposed to be $79,000 at the maximum for a nice big cottage. But I mean, this place is really decked out. It's got it's fully fully kitted. Obviously, it's designed for Airbnb rental kind of shit, but they have rules about that. So I think that they realized, oh shit, I can't just Airbnb the fuck out of this, so I have to. Now I got to sell it. So and I'm gonna get as much as I can for it. It's a fair big chunk of land. And I pointed it out to my coworker, and he's like, no, that's a reasonable amount. But this is the same coworker who just spent $1.4 million in a house. So he's in a very different.
This is exactly the
headspace.
thing. Like that is to my brain, because I'm so not in that world.
Yeah.
Right. And there will be. It's like $1 million is the entry point, because that $1 million is the new 1,000, right? It's like that's kind of where we are.
All I can tell you is that my mother got like $79,000 for our family house in Amherst in 2012, and that was just before shit popped off.
Yeah,
that same house is $500,000 today.
Yeah, the line,
not that fucking far after.
The graph is not an even slope.
No, it's very frustrating. So I don't know. I feel bad for anybody buying a place, but like you said, my coworker got a place and he's very happy with it. It's a beautiful house. He's gonna and the point is he's going to spend the next 20 years in this house. This is not a rental fucking property. This is not an investment. It is an investment in that this is the house he's planning to spend the time from now until his retirement will be in this house.
Yeah.
Once the kids are out of the house, maybe then they'll get rid of it and move into a condo. I don't know, but this is an investment, as most people should be buying houses, should be buying them with the intent of living in that house. Unlike
you don't have the killer investor mindset,
precisely.
Though, Andrew. That's
precisely
what is wrong. That's not how you play the market.
But I think the
fuck is wrong with you.
The person they're buying it from was in that mindset, and they got fucked hard.
Everybody is.
No,
because
we
live in douchebag land.
Yeah,
and
this is I'm gonna buy this place and turn it into a rental property. Oh fuck! Oh shit! Oh fuck! Oh shit! Never mind. Fuck! I need to get out. Anyway, but it's hot out. It's really fucking gross.
And you were was it less hot where you were at least? Was it at least
a little bit?
A kind of heat that was tolerable, maybe?
Yeah,
they were in the forest or something?
No, it was fine. This week it was much worse.
Centaurs and mushrooms?
I think just last week, yeah. We did. So they do have.
I have a veiled understanding of forests.
I will say they do have a family of squirrels that they now own because they've been giving them peanuts. And they are tame as fuck. They won't eat out of your hand, but they will come right up on the deck and climb the fucking window and go, hello, it's peanut time. Why are you not feeding us? So they have a family of a couple of black squirrels, a gray squirrel, and a red squirrel, and a couple of blue jays that are basically addicted to these peanuts now. Mm-hmm. So it's adorable. I think they have deer in the area, but we didn't see anything like that. But anyway, I totally get cottage life. I understand it, but I don't relish the idea of getting in a car and driving for 2 hours every weekend to go up there, like so many people do. God bless. If you got it, flaunt it, enjoy it. Bring your friends out, rub it in their face a little bit. The few times I've been to places like that, it's just been nothing but nervousness for me. I'm like, there's bears out there or something. There's like this is definitely not.
We're way too close to like primordial living here.
This is not the country at all.
Yeah,
it's bare. It's not even. It's barely rural.
There's dirt, man. There's like actual dirt.
Yeah,
I need carbon monoxide. I can't survive on oxygen anymore, Andrew.
Exactly.
I live in the city. That's it.
Gotta have a little taste of that sweet exhaust. Otherwise, I don't know what's up.
But it was good. You were relaxed. Everything's fine.
I mean, we were barely there long enough to get relaxed per se, but it was still nice to get a taste. And I just wanted to really see their place. And it was a nice excuse. But no, it's good up there.
Man, this is low energy time, man.
Well, fuck, it's the dead of summer at this point.
It's true. The speaking of the heat, I think that's like just sapped all the freaking energy out of everything.
Sure.
I've been, because I try to get out and go, at least go for a walk whenever I can. And I'm like, I try to go as early as possible in the day because, good Lord, like just whatever I wear for the walk, get home, take it off. It goes in the laundry basket because it's not humanly wearable.
Utterly insane that there are people building skyscrapers in this heat. They are outside all day doing heavy labor. I mean, these days they're taken care of more or less by their employers. They're very hydrated. They give them breaks. They know that they can't run these people to death, unlike some certain countries that during certain World Cups that made people work till they were dead because they were just chaff. We have rules, thank God, that are
always definitely enforced.
They're largely enforced. If somebody dies on the site, you hear about it. But it behooves them
Do
to
you
treat
hear
people
about
well.
it though?
Maybe
Do you?
Maybe these people are. It's like
how would you know if you didn't?
Jerry's dead. It's like he's not dead. He's let's get it. If we get him off site, then he died off site, and it doesn't count. But yeah, it's. I mean, God, I hope everybody was listening has access to air conditioning at the very least. I know we have some listeners in Europe, which is far less pronounced.
Being on the Gamers Tavern, there's people over so I'm seeing it. I'm seeing from Italy. I'm seeing from the UK. I'm seeing from Germany. Everyone's suffering, man. It's not good.
It's July 2nd.
Yeah.
So I mean, shit's the third today, but it's 2 full months of this shit before it gets any better, and fuck.
It's all over, folks.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
I was thinking earlier, I was going to make a crack when I came into work about how, this planet is a miracle on so many levels. I mean, the axis shifts a few degrees during the year, and we go from minus 20 to plus 40 over the course of a few months, and we shouldn't exist. None of this should be here. No, this should be another fucking dust ball like every other planet. Somehow
all you need
the conditions happened.
If you understand, read the experiences of astronauts who do spacewalks in the ISS, right? So when they're transitioning from day side to night side, they could have one hand in almost absolute zero and the other hand in
180 degrees.
Yeah, just because there's no atmosphere there to protect it, right? Yeah. And that's the thing. The fact that we exist at all is the odds against it are astronomical.
Yeah.
So we're just going to throw it away and build data centers.
Sure. Let's make it worse.
Why not? Hey, what's the worst possible thing we could do?
Shareholder value will be...
It's okay. They'll all be on Mars. That's why they're going to Mars.
Ooh, we're going to build orbital stations now. So all those data centers will be in orbit, and that'll be so much better. So just give us several $1 trillion, and everything will be fine.
God. Okay, well, I guess we should probably get the coping mechanism because we're clearly coping really well.
This week's coping mechanism is air conditioning.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, thank goodness we've got central air in the apartment because, boy, I tell you, I was actually a little chilly today. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite sure why. It was weird, but knowing that I could be slightly chilly I understood the privilege that I'm currently living under because, oh man,
because it's these 2 days. I only had to work Thursday, Friday this week because the school was closed. So and nobody came into work because why the fuck would you come in on Thursday and Friday when Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are a holiday?
Yeah.
What kind of psychopath would say I'm going to work on Wednesday or Thursday and or Friday? There were people came into work. Whatever, man. I guess they just didn't want to burn vacation. If you didn't go to work, nobody would have known because nobody was in the fucking building. Nevertheless, so I declared that Thursday and Friday were shorts days. I'm not wearing fucking pants in this shit for the handful of people that are here. I don't care. So I wore shorts.
Now that
to
you
work.
mention it, so because I've got a thing coming up, as we will definitely be talking about soon, and as we talked about last time, it's a suit is in the mix.
Sure.
So I've got now on my weather app, I've added London, Ontario just so I can sort of monitor what the weather is compared to what they're pretty much 1-to-1 for what we're experiencing, and because it's not that far away, it's 2 hours away.
Yeah.
But so now I'm kind of going, oh boy, I don't know about this suit.
You need a Nowlin suit.
I need a seersucker. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think they make black seersuckers though, so that's a problem.
It's a little against the system.
I know. Kind of,
I could make your suit, but it would absorb the light and make things infinitely worse. Is that what you're looking for?
You wanted to try suffrage by being a goth in summer. That's all I got to
also,
say.
you're going to be in a very heavily air-conditioned environment with thousands of people.
This is the other side of it. I don't know, like what I'm going to. So I don't know. We'll see as we get closer to the date. You know, I want to at least wear a jacket. Obviously, I'm going to wear pants. I'm going to wear shorts on stage. So
just take your pants off and just be in your briefs, but have your torso completely dressed to the nines, and nobody would question it in this weather.
You do the Angus Young from AC/DC thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, let's get on to the coping mechanism where we talk about what has either distracted, inspired, or uplifted us in the past 2 weeks. And I did actually find something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a post. So as we talked about last time, Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2 is currently having a moment, as they should. And so there's a lot of new players coming into the game. And there's been the kind of, as you would expect, people posting on Reddit like, oh, wait, this is a thing. I'd never realized this. And there's been quite a few of those. And there was one post on the Guild Wars 2 subreddit that was just delightful. And I'm going to try to sort of read it more or less verbatim. I don't believe English is their first language, so I will try to fill in the gaps where my brain wants to. So forgive me if I don't read it absolutely word for word. But the first week of the game, some thoughts. The community is so chill that I'm having a strange feeling that I am dead or something. and that I'm playing an MMO in heaven.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. Don't worry. This is coping mechanism. I was walking in and saw this icon on the mini map, something like tutor. This is a thing that happens in Guild Wars 2. There are players that can like flag themselves as tutors, and that are there to help new players. That's what they're there for. Because there's dynamic events that are popping off all over the map, and they are group content. Like you cannot solo.
It's the meme of the massive character with the full armor taking on the barrage of arrows, protecting the little guy.
Exactly.
That's the tutor.
That's what the tutors are. So I was walking and saw this icon on the minimap, something like tutor. Coming close, I noticed it was not an NPC. It was a real player offering to help newcomers. I found it cute, but just said hi and moved on. I stumbled into an area full of players close to each other. I was thinking it was a big world boss was to be spawned in there, full of loot, but it was just a pride parade full of people who are happy in chat, and chat was being respectful. I really needed to stop. This is somebody who was coming from WoW, by the way, so as you can imagine. I really needed to stop and think that this was not a feature of the game, because no toxic players in chat and spicy comments is such a rare thing in online gaming. Right now, I just ran into an encounter with a very cool ranger wearing a green skin, and I think he realized I was looking at his character and said hi. We engaged in a fast and honest conversation, and in the most fast and honest conversation I had this week. I really feel like even in PvP, people will say sorry when they kill me. Hilarious. And say, WP, well played, after every fight. This is their mind is blown. They cannot believe that there is an online community like this. And this is very much the experience of the Guild Wars 2, and this is the kind of thing I keep talking about. Again, I keep making these comparisons between Guild Wars, the Guild Wars community and the Warframe community, because there are very much a similar vibe. Sure. Exactly my experience in both Guild Wars and Warframe has been like this. So my point is, this shit can happen. Like this exists. There are cultural trends that happen in online communities just like there are in any community. And there are safe spaces is a kind of poor way of saying it, but
good people are being pulled into
there
these
are
games.
Healthy places that maintain their health because that's the culture of the game.
And they also ensure that the toxicity is not permitted.
Exactly.
And that's a big part of it.
Or is it
there has to be some
minority.
Exactly. And they create an environment where toxicity is annihilated.
Yeah.
It just evaporates because no one helps it propagate.
You don't give them any oxygen.
Exactly.
That's
100%.
Everybody understands that.
And
so
not every game
right?
has that. And when gamers see that there is an environment that repels it, they are drawn to it, and it's great that they're having such a big resurgence in the face of the upcoming Guild Wars 3.
Yep, absolutely. So there we go. I thought that was just charming and delightful.
That's great.
And it was like, and there's been a few posts like that. That's just the one that sort of flagged out to me.
Well, we'll talk more about them later. Mine is I've talked before about Post 10, the YouTuber who works in logging areas and deals with small beaver dams, and block culverts and stuff like that. It's very interesting. So Kenneth Slovas is a Romanian who deals with beaver dams in that area of the world, and they're much more structured. He tends to deal with them in drainage around farms.
All right.
So that's more or less where he always ends up. So these are already like culverts that are designed to take over the drainage and keep it from flooding the fields. So he's dealing with those areas. So it's catnip for beavers. I'm sure beaver nip. I don't know. They find the perfect spot and they block it up and they're like, "Yay! I've done a great thing." And these dams are big.
Sure.
He'll deal with one. I'm gonna ballpark it in like 10 meters wide and 2 meters high. It's a little higher than him in some cases.
Serious beaver shit.
Yeah. And so this falls under the competence porn that I so often am attracted to.
That's pretty good.
And a lot of the shit that I've used on this section of the show is very much part of that. So
well, let's face it, we live in a world that celebrates incompetence right now. So
precisely. So and just what
there's nothing more rebellious than competence right now.
So what's funny is how different he is from Post 10, in that he's very shy. He has to kind of make himself talk when he's trying to explain things, and he's also dealing with not his native language. So he does the whole thing in English, and he's clearly struggling with a lot of the words sometimes, but he's comfortable with what he's saying. But it is refreshing in that Post he tends to talk a lot,
right?
And this guy barely speaks, to the point where you kind of wish he would explain a little bit more about what he's doing. But also, it's not quite ASMR, but he'll just the way he'll attack a dam and pull a lot of sticks, a lot of mud, and he's just working at it. And but he wants it to. The goal is to create the roll. And he basically works the bottom part of the dam out, and then eventually it'll fail and it'll roll. The whole thing will kind of roll forward,
right?
And it's very satisfying. And that's the main thing he's doing it for, is to get that roll. And he'll score it. He has a scoring system now that he's just actually added that recently, where he'll rate the difficulty and the quality of the roll and the volume of water. It's very funny. But this is somebody who's, again, clearly on the spectrum. And he does what he loves, and it's just satisfying. It's a great channel. He's very regular too. I guess they have a lot of dams in Romania.
Sure.
So it's nice. It's good quality stuff to just relax to. They're like 20-minute videos or so, and I highly recommend checking it out and watching somebody who knows what they're doing work, and then the joy of that roll, the satisfying breakage of the dam, and the way the flood of water, and he sets up multiple cameras along the path so you can appreciate how it hits at each level, and he clearly loves what he does, and he does it through. He doesn't do it in the winter usually, but he's active in the spring and the summer. But so Kenneth Slovas on YouTube. Totally worth checking out.
Excellent. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for the opening. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with the Puppet Pit.
You have entered an alternate dimension. A dimension of fleece and fur, of foam and industrial adhesives. So I hope you have good ventilation. A signpost up ahead. Watch your step. You have just stumbled into the Puppet Pit.
Welcome to the Puppet Pit, where we talk about the puppet side of Operation Puppet for the last 2 weeks. And this is going to be a very short one.
Guess what Kevin worked on, kids?
I've done one thing and one thing only, and everybody knows what it was. Of course, it's been
Snuffleupagus.
the big one. No, but it's of course been Ortis, because despite the fact that this has been like at the front of my brain for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been talking about it for so long, the time did kind of sneak up on me. I kind of been just picking at it here and there, and it was literally on the last podcast that when we sat down and went, how many podcasts are there until the next, like before DennoCon? And it was like one. Oh, that's
Oh,
what
shit's getting real.
That's when it really hit me. So the fun part was, so you know when you're like looking at a thing and you've done this kind of thing before, and you go, oh, I know how to do this, and you go, oh, this will be the easy part. I'll save that for last. And then it isn't. That's exactly what happened with Ortis. There's this part, so around the lower body of Ortis, there's this kind of fabric, this two-piece fabric thing. I call it the shroud. I don't know what it's supposed to be called, but it looks like a shroud, so I call it a shroud. And it's really just two pieces of fabric, and the shape was really clear. I could see the size, I could see the pattern in my head. It was so easy. But of course, I hadn't looked at it in detail, and so by the time I went to actually build the thing, it was like, oh, wait. So I tried to flat pattern it out by eyeballing it. That didn't go very well. It went fine, but when you look at it, here's the problem with making a character that is, yes, this is an interpretation of the character, but it still needs to be recognizable as that character. And one of the things, and you hear people like in design, and particularly video game design, talk about this kind of thing a lot. And they talk about the silhouette, right? You need, like for an enemy type or for a character type or a class or something, you need in your peripheral, the player needs to kind of recognize that immediately.
Yeah,
right?
Destiny is incredible at that.
Any game that will have specific enemy types really needs to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And that is very much the case when you are doing either a replica or a caricature of a character. You need to get the silhouette right. And that's the thing. I have no idea what that was. And that's the thing that that I wasn't getting right when I was just trying to flat pattern the shroud out by hand. So what I had to end up doing was going back to the in-game geometry, the model that I was using, basing. So I bring out the head shell from that and everything because that was a very complicated shape, and I wasn't going to be able to flat pattern that totally by hand. So I just went, okay, I'll print this out and we'll just do it from there. I actually ended up printing up basically the whole thing. And that took a long time. And I still wasn't sure how I was going to make the shroud because in the game, it looks kind of like fabric. It kind of looks like neoprene rubber, basically. It moves very rubbery. So I knew I wanted to do it in something soft. I didn't want to do it just like a hard shell or anything like that. So I initially had to print it out. I printed it out in TPU filament, which is a soft-ish, rubbery filament. It still wasn't very soft, but I even had to print it out because it was so tall. It was taller than the total print volume of my 3D printer. So I had to cut it into pieces and like glue it together. And I did that, and it actually ended up being okay, but it was still very heavy, and that's been a big issue with this whole build, and it still is an issue, but oh well. I'll deal with it. But nevertheless, I still wasn't happy with it. But the good part was because I had this full-size 3D printed soft, version of the shroud in two pieces as it is, I was able to just take that, flatten it out, lay it down on a piece of paper, hand draw the pattern around it, and then make it in fabric, and it looked okay. The real trouble was there's this gold trim around the shroud, but only on the front. And that was a real challenge, surprisingly enough. Like, it just seems like that should be simple, right? That's just like, a sewing machine. It's just like, it's a line. It's literally just like a hem on a pair of pants or something. It's like, looks very simple. It's not that simple. And also it's not that simple for me because that's really kind of a tailoring discipline, and that's not the kind of thing I'm used to doing.
Right.
So like, that's way too tidy for the kind of thing that I usually do. So there were two solutions that I thought of. The first was don't worry about it and just don't do the gold trim, but that would really lose something from the character.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was, well, I don't really have to do the shroud in like fleece. I could do the shroud in fur. And that was an early thought that I had. And that would kind of look fun and very Muppety. And it wouldn't need to be all that precise because it's fur. It's just a big blob of stuff. But that made me think, you know what? You would probably then lose silhouette again, right? So I kind of went, I ended up basically doing both. I made the shroud in flat fleece with a black lining. So it's white fleece with a black lining. And then I did the trim in yellow fur. And I trimmed it and styled it. So it looks relatively neat. And the hilarious thing is basically it ends up looking like he's got a pimp coat. And it looks very Muppety, though. That is the thing. So I ended up in a good place. And the thing was, this was the one crisis in the whole build.
Yeah, and even then, it was still a challenge.
It was, but it got to the point where it's like I got so despondent, and it went real bad the first attempt I had at it when I was trying to do the fabric gold trim. Because first I tried sewing it, that didn't work out well. Then I tried gluing it, that didn't work out well, and I literally threw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
This is the second time this has happened to me, where I've just given up and I've thrown a thing in the garbage. And then I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right. And like thought about it, and literally the next day I pulled the damn thing out of the garbage and kept working. And then I eventually got it. And so that's what's on Ortis right now.
Wow.
That thing was once in the garbage.
Wow.
So,
No, I mean, iteration is so critical in these things.
And it's just part of the process.
Absolutely.
You know,
some stuff gets thrown in the garbage and you pull it out of the garbage.
and this is, I mean, I kind of got to give myself a little leeway with this because almost nothing on this entire build is something that I've done before. This is all new. Like this is hard body stuff.
And it's hard to go to the next level where you think about how people are going to see it and how they're going to react. Even the simplest thing, if you had done the least work, people still probably would have been incredibly impressed. But it's you're trying to impress yourself. You're trying to make sure something that you are happy with, which is the most difficult thing of all.
And I've said this before. There comes a point where you're doing any build that like there's a moment where you go, oh, right. The first impression has to be, oh, like you got to get that moment. And if I don't feel like I've got that moment, it's not done. It's not good enough yet.
Sure.
So I feel like I got there with Ortis.
That's excellent.
But yeah, Ortis is done. That's the whole thing. I literally finished it yesterday.
It's a great work, and I think it's gonna go off like gangbusters at the show.
It was quite the thing. So there is a bit of both pressure off and kind of a bummer in that I totally gapped on this. I forgot about this. So there's two sections to the cosplay contest. One is the non-competitive, one is the competitive. The non-competitives don't do a back and forth interview with the hosts.
Sure.
They introduce you, you walk on, you pose, you walk off. That's it.
Okay.
Right. And then everybody comes out for the end for the round of applause. But so that's what I'll be doing. I won't be doing the back and forth.
They still might. Who knows?
Well, no, they won't. I mean,
environment, but
they're on a very strict timeline too, and so it's the competitive ones that they do the back and forth because they're the ones that are literally there's a panel of judges there like doing the whole
they
thing,
want to
right?
have it's a different if Ortis were part of your other costume, that would be something.
There would be something else, but yeah, no, this is so that kind of like because I kind of was like in my head going, oh, I gotta have a bit, I gotta do a thing, but no, I don't. I don't actually have to do that. I'm not even going to be mic'd. There's just going to be like I'm just going to walk on, do a pose, walk off.
I would imagine they're still going to have on the floor stuff.
Oh, I'll be on the floor with Ortis, and
they'll have the camera.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure there will be more.
Hopefully,
than
you will get a chance to give a proper shout out on the live stream.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
And I saw that you have printed out cards, which is excellent.
I do have business cards.
I mean, you gotta do it. I mean,
I'll bring them. But
it's important to have to be able to give somebody your business card.
I don't know. I've never given people my business card before, so I don't even know how.
You've never had an opportunity to do it.
Yeah,
and this is great. I mean, if you brought this to pretty much any of the main fan shows, I mean, you would get some attention for this. And I'm not saying you need to set up a booth. My God, that would be a nightmare. But it would. But that you would be perfectly justified in having a booth showing your work there, and and it would be. I mean, obviously it's ludicrously expensive at this stage, but there's other shows, and even just walking around. I mean,
well, that's the other thing. So the hilarious thing is. So, there's a strict, there's certain sizes of bags they're allowing in, all that stuff. And so a stadium bag, which is like a transparent plastic bag, and I got all the measurements and everything. So I got one, and Ortiz fits in it perfectly.
Great.
Right? So I'll be able to, even when I don't have him on my arm, I'll be able to put Ortiz in the bag, have the bag on my hip, and Ortiz will just be staring out of the bag. So I won't even have to carry him around necessarily. So it's still going to be nice. It's still going to be people will see me, and then I'll be walking around the show.
You'd be fully justified, I think, to bring this to Fan Expo on the Masquerade Day and just have it around as people are in costume, and you could still have your cards. You wouldn't even have to, you'd have to pay to get in, but it wouldn't. It would be a business expense, honestly, and you could be, as long as you handed some cards.
I've thought about that kind of thing for a long time. Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and if somebody says, "Did you make this yourself?" As a matter of fact, this is my shit.
So we'll see how it goes. Like I
said,
I don't
literally my job.
It's not going to be as impactful as I was thinking it might.
I don't know,
but I think it'll still.
And I totally understand keeping your expectations low, but I think it's going to go.
Look, it's me.
Go well.
There's 1,000 ways it can still go bad. Mm-hmm. I'm fully expecting some disaster to befall because it's just nice things don't happen to me. So I'm ready for whatever shit to go down. I'm just gonna roll with it. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to not overthink it, and it's stupid. It's a day and a half. I'm winding this thing up in my head like it's this huge thing. Will be largely
it's too bad you didn't get to go last year.
And I could have. I made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
This is why I was determined to go this year, because I regretted not going last year. It would have been easier for me to go last year than it was this year.
Yeah.
This year I had to literally sell my most favorite puppet to do this. Right. I wouldn't have had to do that last year. It was just more of a hardship. But nevertheless, we'll see. This is the weird thing for me because, I've rarely been able to afford to travel. I don't travel. I've never traveled anywhere alone. Right. Right. So even though this is really just a day and a half, I'm winding it up in my head because I don't know what to expect. I have no, real experience, and it's not that far. It's not that big a deal. It's basically a small town somewhere. But for me, because I don't have a body of experience, right? I don't know. I got nothing to go on, so I'm just gonna roll with it.
It's gonna be great.
See how it goes. Yeah, that's been it. That's all we got for the Puppet Pit. So, what I'm anticipating. I hope that I will at least get maybe a handful of new followers or something from it. So I'm probably going to I'm now looking at sprucing up things like my Twitch page, which I haven't really looked at for a long time because obviously these people are probably not going to be on Owncast or PeerTube or something. They're probably going to be Twitch people. So
yeah, I think you might be surprised with that, but yeah, it still behooves you to have it.
I think,
nice
it's clearly the entry point, the on-ramp vector, as it were. So that's one thing. And that stuff can trickle down to, the Owncast and PeerTube server anyway. So anyway, that's kind of where my head's at with all that stuff. That's all that's been going on puppet-wise. The shop is there's only a few puppets on there. That's the other thing. So now that I'm done Ortiz, I've got still literally a week before I go. So it's there are a few things left for me to do to get ready, but not that much. So I'm going to start some other build this week. I don't know what. I can't get into anything too involved just because my brain isn't going to be in that headspace. So I'm still not sure, but that's also a new month and I got to get stuff on the shop because
I mean, it would definitely be a good idea to do something that's not going to be too taxing to your brain, but something that somebody will buy.
Exactly. So we'll see. So hopefully next time we'll have some new puppets to talk about on the Puppet Pit. But otherwise, that's it. So, OperationPuppet.com for all the links. Join the Discord, etc., etc. And we're going to take a fake break. And we will be back with Pixels and Tokens. No, that's the wrong thing. I caught it this time.
You did.
We will be back with Pixel Town.
The sky above the port was the color of a YouTube video locked behind 17 unskippable ads. Around the rainy streets, people dodged out-of-control robo-taxis and shot down delivery drones carrying $50 burgers. Here we fight the corporate ecologies and get excited about avoiding our phones. Welcome to the mean streets of Pixel Town.
Welcome to Pixel Town, where we talk about tech, gaming, and all things thereunto related. So so I wrote this show note literally 2 weeks ago. Like, I got the show notes ready much earlier than I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
And something had happened. And so the show note that I wrote was, somehow the hardware landscape has gotten worse. Is it even worth talking about anymore? I don't remember what specific event caused me to write that show note.
And yet,
there could be many things, many things.
Just before we started the podcast, a post came up on Reddit that Intel is going to be increasing the price of some of their processors.
Oh, good.
Consumer grade, but also a big jump on their network processors, which was kind of a surprise. So even for a while, it looked like the processors were going to, by and large, escape the jack, and it's obviously they're going to increase everything. Fuck it, why not? So I was very tempted to get the 5800X3D relaunch. I have a 5600X, which is a solid processor. Mm-hmm. The 5800X3D represents about a 30% bump. It's nothing to sneeze at. It's a good jump. And I haven't touched this in God, I don't want to think about how long that I've had that computer when I built it. So I'm due for an upgrade. Obviously, this is an incredibly shitty time to do any kind of an upgrade.
The worst possible time,
more or less. So I was trying to find.
Ever.
I know it's apocalyptic. So I was looking for something within my general spec without having to, basically at this point, without having to buy new RAM.
Sure.
So I've got decent DDR4 RAM.
Right.
So I needed to stay in that ecosystem. And I was looking into it, and it's just insane. I mean, the next generation of AMD processor requires DDR5.
Right.
So I would have to stay in the 4.
That might be changing, FYI.
Well, I mean, that's part of it. So that's part of the conversation. So the 5800X3D would have been an excellent choice, but they didn't price it reasonably. It's a little more expensive than it should have been. And then, of course, the scalpers got a hold of it. And I hope they all ate shit, because I don't think anybody was willing to pay scalper prices for a fucking 10-year-old, not a 10-year-old processor. It's like a 7-year-old processor, 6-year-old. The platform is 10 years old.
Right.
It's Zen 4. But that processor represented
that. I think that's the processor that's currently in my living room box.
Okay, and it's a great chip. I mean, there's no question.
I mean, my living room box is 4K60.
Had it been $400 American, Canadian, because it's 500 Canadian right now, straight up, and I just I don't think I can justify it.
Yeah,
I mean, I could do it, but would I really get? Would I enjoy the benefits of it at this stage?
And it depends on so many. It depends on what the workload is. It depends on the game. Are you getting this for gaming? Because if you're getting it for gaming,
yes,
a lot of games aren't necessarily CPU bound, right?
But the
GPU is doing way more work than your CPU. So,
and I've got a 6900 XT, which was a Halo card when it came out, and fucking COVID. So that's how old that card is, and yet it still holds up. But and just to get into more technical shit, they have promised the new FSR 4 will run on my processor, but not until January or early next year. So they've dropped it down to the 7000 series.
I have good news for you.
Well, again, so as of right now, the 7000 series supports it.
on your operating system.
There was a leaked version that came out a while ago, I guess, that would have run on mine, but it also was not very.
You can
solid.
fairly easily get FSR4 running on older AMD cards under Linux.
That makes sense. So that's something else to consider. So again, I'm still in the Windows ecosystem right now. That could change tomorrow. I don't know. Well, actually, can't, because right now I'm still playing Destiny, which will not work in Linux. So that's the.
How many hard drives you got, Andrew?
Well, not. I mean, more than I should, but less than I need. Because that's a whole other kettle of fish.
Yep.
So that's. I am looking at options at this point. So I was also saying, well, fuck, if they're overcharging for the 5800 X3D, what are they charging for the alternatives? And the problem is that the alternatives, like the 5900 XT, is just not nearly as good in gaming. It's better than at other things, but I don't do any productivity work on my own computer at this stage. So,
right. So if you're building a dedicated gaming machine, then
yeah, it would not be a big improvement for gaming. So the only real option, if I want to keep my current motherboard, would be the 5800 X3D. And I could get it. It still shows up. It's still available. But even at $500, it's not that I don't have the money. It's just the wherewithal to do the full upgrade. And am I really going to see a benefit? And then I'm looking at the benchmarks. Now, mind you, all the benchmark sites are using a 4090 as their graphics card. And they're like,
yeah, those are not going to be your results.
Right. So I don't think I'm necessarily even going to see that 30% increase on what I've got. And then what I've got is fine. So I don't know.
So depends on the game. That's the thing, right? Like,
and for Diablo and Destiny, it ain't gonna make a big difference.
Yeah, they're not very CPU
so
balanced.
I still have every intention of playing Cyberpunk at some point in the near future, and that's getting remarkable performance out of pretty much anything at this stage. So anyway, yeah. So in the hardware world, Jesus, it's so crippled right now.
I think I remember what the incident was that triggered the note was the Micron deal for RAM for the next 5 years. He thought RAM is bad now. Like, RAM is stupid now. It's going to get stupider, and it's going to stay stupider.
The line that Valve said when they approached a major supplier, which was probably Micron, and they were told
there's only like 3.
Yeah, and they were told, here's what we'll give you. If you say anything other than yes, we will block you.
Yeah.
They said this to Valve.
Honestly, Valve, I mean, we think of Valve as a big deal. They're not a big deal. To the hardware manufacturers, they're nothing. They're a drop in the bucket.
And yet, their so-called alpha supply, the alpha customer is fucking vaporware at this stage. And
yeah,
I am actively praying for the collapse to come sooner than later, if only for these guys to eat shit so that they have to turn around and go, actually, we just happen to have a bunch of chips available if you guys still want it.
This is the thing that I think we kind of need to come to terms with.
Mm-hmm.
And this is totally opinion. Mm-hmm. So take it for what it's worth. The opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Mm-hmm. But,
what?
Oh no, look what I've done to Andrew.
I took a drink of liquor and it went down the wrong hole. And I almost threw up.
I thought that was my fantastic joke. Oh well.
Oh, that hurt.
Oh no.
Oh, I've never done that before.
You've never done that
No.
before?
Oh my God, that was so close to vomit.
Wow.
That would have been the end of the podcast.
It's the moment.
The entire podcast.
Andrew, quit drinking right now. It just happened.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Oh, the burn.
Yep, there it is. Welcome to it.
You were going to say something about hardware.
Opinions and assholes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I don't believe. Take a breath. You good? You good?
Yep.
Okay. I don't believe we are going back. I don't think there's no normal that we're going back to.
And I understand that, and in the worst case scenario, which they clearly seem to be moving towards, is definitely where we're heading. And as we've said before, you will rent compute.
Yeah.
You will not own hardware. You will give us everything.
Because after the AI thing goes away, and it definitely will, that will definitely happen. AI is definitely a drop in the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that comes after it and the thing they're setting all this up for is for the absolute loss of the availability of you to own compute. That is the end game. You will rent everything. You will rent your computer. You will rent your software. You will rent absolutely everything.
So when the OpenAI eats shit and everything collapses around them and takes down everything with them, they're still going to say, well, we've built these data centers already. And
Therefore, something.
We're in the middle of still building more. Fuck it. We're still going to make you do this. And I don't think it's going to be at the tipping point they think it is. And I'm very hopeful that they're going to eat shit for this, and they're going to eventually realize that that's not the case, and that the system will actually reject it, and we can have some semblance of order in the ruins that come afterwards.
I mean, I would like that to be the case. I don't believe it's going to be.
It's going to be close.
But what I will say is that I think we do have a wild card, and that unknown factor is going to be China.
Yes.
Because the stuff is happening in China right now, and let me just front load this by saying, no, I'm not saying China is going to be the great benevolent savior. China's got major fucking problems, the same as the U.S. have. We're caught between authoritarian bullshit and authoritarian bullshit. But the Chinese hardware manufacturers, and China's been very smart in this regard, while their hardware capacity is not up to where the other companies are, they're catching up real fast. And they're very serious about it. And the only thing that's keeping them out of the market is regulatory stuff.
Yep.
And protectionist business practices. Well, as the U.S. isolates itself more and more and more, there's going to be other channels for that stuff to happen. I'm not saying it's going to be great. Like, we are clearly opening like security holes out the wazoo by going hard on Chinese hardware, but that may be the only vector, and that could be the thing that changes the landscape.
We've already got companies begging to buy RAM from China, from this new manufacturer that they're putting up. It's my God, it is insane how much things are changing over in this last couple of months, and what we're looking at over the next year or two alone. I mean, now that we've got major companies like Apple going, all right, fuck it, we have to increase everything. And if the sales go in the toilet as a result, they're already starting to look at China and saying, can we get these or not?
Yeah.
And if they can put enough pressure on the bullshit legislation that's already in play, I think that they're going to be able to bully I say bully, but push the current administration into actually giving them what they want, which will be better for everyone in the short term. I don't know. But realistically, I don't think they want to put secret machines in our RAM to take over the world. It's just simply going to be, we're giving the people what they want, and we should be successful as a result. And they fucked up is what it comes down to. The AI companies created a bullshit environment that pissed off everybody, and now people are more and more angry about this insanity. Did you see the clip of fuckface from Palantir on fucking broadcast television?
I heard about it. I didn't
high as balls. Like, he's a poster child for ketamine. It's incredible. And the fact that he's like, I'm going to go on national television high as fuck, and we're going to suffer no repercussions as a result.
But this is exactly how these guys think, right?
They do.
They think they're the smartest guys in the room, and they think they're untouchable because they're the smartest guys in the room.
And the system that they've been manipulating for the last decade is coming apart at the fucking seams faster than we thought. And it took a while, but it is going to happen so fast in the next few weeks, the way things are going, because so much of the system is on fire, and they're convinced that they can blitz their way through and lie their way through, and more and more people are waking up.
It's worked so far, Andrew.
It has. Oh my God, it has. But Jesus Christ,
he's got to find the new scam.
You talk about scams. I mean, I keep seeing these videos they're exposing the scams. I mean, Rick Beato, the music legend, did a video about how friends of his channels are being stolen by AI bots, and it's so fucking clear what's going on, and people are more and more aware of it, and the platforms are starting to react. But as I've said before, now that compute is actually going to be charged to people, the shit that used to be kind of free or at least very inexpensive, now that they're gonna say, hey, the video you're gonna produce is actually gonna cost you $500, they're gonna just nope the fuck out and go back to stealing purses. You know, it's just that whole infrastructure is gonna implode, and it's gonna take so much with it, because the dead internet theory. There's a great video that went up recently where a guy was showing examples of dead internet, and there was a story about a woman releasing a fish in the ocean or something, and it comes back to life, and he shows all the videos of ostensibly human beings talking about this, and like avatars explaining, and seemingly real people, but they're all verbatim. They're using the same dialogue. It's just multiple people saying the same stuff, and it's supposed to be a person that you feel is a real human talking about this story, and you're like, oh, I'm going to propagate this because this is a person and not an AI. And as people are starting to wake up to that, you know, it's not even that the story itself was AI, it's just these channels that are fake, and people are starting to recognize it and react against it. So if more and more people are reacting, and as I've said, the young people are getting better at hating on it, and shitting on it and stopping it at its source. I mean, it's our parents that we got to worry about, that it keeps sharing this shit, and that's but if we can kill it at the source, and again, thankfully, since AI is already starting to collapse and that they're charging people for use, those scammers, it's not financially viable anymore.
Right.
If it's literally going to cost them hundreds of dollars to do this shotgun approach that they use, where they do hundreds of these avatars making these fake fucking videos, and they're like, it's going to cost us how much to do that? Never mind. I literally think they're going to just come back to worse, shitty scams. There was a really fun one. So these guys like to use filters. So they have a person talking, and then the filter makes them look like a white dude saying things, and they're having a call with you, and they're actually engaging with you. So it's not AI, but then the guy says, I want you to, if you want to prove that you're real, wave your hand in front of your face. That's the filter now.
Right.
It's like, and the guy did everything he could to not literally wave his hand in front of his face, because the system cannot do that.
Right.
If you wave your hand in front of your face, it cannot hide the fact that you're actually from Nigeria and not some dude from Boston. And so this guy in this example just disconnected the call, because it was obvious that he wasn't who he said he was. And hopefully these stories are what's really propagating. So I'm hopeful, and I can't believe the level, how fast these things are happening, and in a good way, I think, in a lot, because these guys are getting so desperate, and they're pushing this technology so far past what it can deliver, that they're realizing that they can't give the people what they promised, so it's falling apart. And I really think that's what's going to create the cascade failure that's coming.
I think you're partially right in that the collapse of confidence, as it were, in this is going to happen at the ground level.
Yeah.
But I honestly believe that, you know, the C-suite, this is one of the cultural problems that we have in the world right now. The C-suite is so insular.
Yeah.
And so convinced of their own brilliance that, and this is one of the reasons why they're so AI pilled.
Yeah.
Is because AI is obsequious.
Yep.
Right.
But you look at what's happening with Ford. That story that came out last week, how Ford is hiring back the engineers they let go of during the AI boom. They realize we need fucking humans again. We can't deal with this shit.
The one thing they can't deny is when it impacts them financially.
Exactly.
Right?
And it's starting to finally happen. They're starting to see the benefits they were promised by these shit companies are finally realizing, especially now that the tokens are costing them money, they're going, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
And so all of this proselytizing they've been doing over the last few years is evaporating. And I think it's happening faster than they expected. So shit's getting real very quickly.
I do have added data, though, to counteract
yes,
that,
of course. There's
unfortunately,
always something.
Because, like, I know somebody who works for an exceptionally large company in Europe, and when I said pretty much exactly what you just said to them, they were like, yeah, but the problem is these guys got billions, if not millions, to burn, and they will burn it.
They are pot committed.
Yes.
And I totally see that. But unfortunately, that pot is drying up, and I think that it's starting to come apart.
The cultists are never going to get, like, converted.
Yeah.
Right? There's no deprogramming those people. So,
you know, obviously we could go further into this, but I do want to pivot into the other story that's happening.
So this is why the two things bookended so well, because somehow software got worse.
So the big story this week is that Sony said we're not going to be making discs on our AAA titles anymore, and people lost their fucking minds. And this was well, I think this actually came out before we did the last after we did the last podcast about Rockstar saying GTA 6 will not be on physical disc, and I was like, of course it's not going to be on a physical disc. This fucking game is going to be 200 gigabytes. There's no question that it's going to be massive. There's no way that we're going to ship this on a disc. And people acted like it was the apocalypse. Like, how are you surprised that they're not making a physical copy of this? And we're still in, like, obviously more people have unlimited internet today. So it's not an issue that they have to download a 200 gig game. But this is also going to be a huge problem for people in rural areas still that are not going to be able to enjoy this title. And they've already said this game requires an internet connection. So that was never in question, that it was going to need that. There's no offline version of this game, despite the fact of the history that's come before. And for Sony to say the same thing, basically, like, yeah, of course, the Wolverine game, when that comes out, that's going to be 100 gigs. That might technically fit on a disc, but almost nobody's going to want to get that. And so we have obviously progressed beyond the physical disc at this point. You can put 100 gigs on a Blu-ray, sure, but what's the first thing that happens when you put a disc in the machine? It checks for an update. Yeah, because there's always going to be an update.
A disc is basically a license on a disc. Like,
absolutely, and many titles have been that. I mean, there was Tony Hawk 5, I think, infamously, the disc itself was simply a check. It just went. It immediately asked you. There was nothing on the disc. It just simply said, "I'm real. Please download the game now." And so we've been dealing with this for years, and now it's finally come to roost. It's over.
I think that is the point.
Right.
The fact that we've had this kind of panacea of the physical release.
Yep.
Despite the fact that Bellular News did a really good video on this, and I think, again, to shout out to Bellular News, because their coverage is very well thought out and very, very balanced. Although I will say, I think they do so. This is a side note, but I think they do something I've been seeing more and more, and it is kind of dishonest in that I keep seeing these, like, I keep seeing these YouTube videos. He says like a very old man. They release a video that is clearly an important subject and has a kind of inflammatory, title and everything. And then, like, the next day they'll change the thumbnail.
Okay, and make it less so?
Well, no, just change it. It's the same. It's not misleading. It's the same subject. It's just, like, reworded but, like, you kind of think, oh, maybe this is a new video.
Oh,
and it's not.
It's the same video.
They just changed the thumbnail.
Now, and that is YouTube, though. They encourage that.
That seems like a very YouTube-y thing, but it's still kind of shitty.
It is shitty, yeah.
Don't do that shit.
That unfortunately falls into the don't hate the player, hate the game. But as long as the tone of the video is not changing as well.
It's exactly the same video. Yeah. It's not literally the same video. They just changed the thumbnail, upload a new thumbnail.
Yeah.
Right?
But so with Sony getting rid of the physical releases, and I mean, with major titles, with the big fat ones that are already going to require a massive download, this is where we are. As a PC gamer, we're just like, welcome to the club. Can you honestly remember the last physical PC game you bought?
Oh no.
Like, it is so far gone. I have a copy of City of Heroes and Hellgate London that I picked up in the bargain bin because I thought it'd be worth having because maybe they'll come back or whatever, because those were both online games. Yep. There is no offline version of either of those titles, but those are sitting on my shelf right now, not just as a collector's thing. I was like, at the time I was like, well, if I get this one, then I've got the key and then I've got access to the game, and if it continues to be successful.
Once upon a time there was a reason to have this disc. Yeah.
So I have the answer. Diablo 3 Legacy of Souls, the expansion. That's the last physical PC game I bought. Around the same time, though, I did pick up a Civilization collection of, I think, 1 through 5. Didn't even hit 6 at that point. It was a nice box set, and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is a good thing to have. So again, physical media for PC gamers has not been an issue for over 10 years, well over 10 years.
As Bellular News pointed out, it's not even really been a thing for console players.
Absolutely,
it's the hard facts are like we seem like we're advocating for the death of physical media, and we're absolutely not.
We're realists about it.
Yeah, it's like, honestly, like I haven't bought a physical game in a very long time. Right. Now, that being said, it's still a bad thing.
Yes, and this is the thing. Away. We are also saying that and this is why we advocate for piracy on so many levels, because it is these downloaded versions that sit on somebody's hard drive somewhere that we rely on as a historical document. Now, obviously, we've talked before about online games having to be like, the fact that we now have it's not even legitimate. We have Marvel Heroes Omega, or whatever the fuck we're calling
gaming
it right now.
Necromancy.
Yeah. So this is what we're asking for, is once you have decided that this is no longer a viable financial endeavor for you, let us find some life in it in the future.
And this is all set up with the Stop Killing Games movement.
So exactly. So we can still celebrate the existence of these things. I don't know if I mentioned my approach, what I wanted to see for Destiny 2. I wanted to see a shard. Did I talk about this? What I wanted them to do was release a version of Destiny 2 locked into that era.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I did talk about that. That's what I'd love to see. And unfortunately, at this point, that would require a level.
It would require people who still work the Destiny 2 to still work at Bungie, which they don't anymore.
Right, and that's a whole thing. So at the very least, it would be. We are concerned about the art of gaming, the art and the craft of gaming, and
historical preservation.
100%.
From a cultural standpoint, so, this is part of our cultural lexicon.
Yeah,
right?
And a big hole in that now is mobile gaming.
Yeah,
because especially in the Apple infrastructure. As Apple progressed OSs to the point where they wouldn't support older titles, those older titles vanished.
Yep.
They were gone. They were obliterated from the record. They no longer exist in any way. So that game you played when you were a kid on your mom's iPhone is gone, unless it's literally on her old iPhone, and then you might be able to fire it up and play it, as long as it doesn't need to talk to a server.
And I can even approach this from an archaeological standpoint, because this is exactly when archaeologists refer to the quote unquote Dark Ages, which a lot of archaeologists cringe at. I do apologize, but we're not talking about ignorance. We are literally talking about, in the archaeological record, when people stopped working in media that preserved, like stone,
right,
and started working in media that decayed,
yep,
like wood and leather,
yep,
things like that.
And SSDs.
Well, but this is the thing. This is exactly what we're doing. So there is legitimate talk in archaeological circles about the digital dark age.
Yes.
That's what we're creating. We're creating a blank space,
yeah,
where there is nothing known, because everything we create is ephemeral. There's no record of it.
If archive.org went dark tomorrow, we would lose so much. And there are forces that have tried to destroy it.
Oh, of course.
Over the last couple of years. And they will succeed. Eventually they will succeed. And
we're all fighting along. We're all Tolkien elves fighting the long defeat.
And there are many people out there who are creating backups of it for that very reason, because they know that eventually some dickhead is going to make one fucking move that's going to wipe the whole thing out.
I said it before and I'll say it again. The only hope we have is in the underground, and it always has been.
And it's come up for film and TV as well, where shows and movies have been obliterated. And
the only reason the Nosferatu exists is because somebody defied the law.
Yes.
Right?
So, and again, we are approaching this from an artistic and a creative level where we want those crafts to be preserved in a fashion, I mean, we've talked about Star Wars. The fact that Lucas has effectively tried to destroy the original versions of these. I don't understand why he doesn't appreciate the need.
Control freak.
Well, that's it.
Control freak. It's not more complicated than that.
Yeah, he's willing to obliterate the contributions of hundreds of amazing craftspeople who worked on the original film, and he was willing to throw that in the fucking bin just to make his prettier version that was purely digital. And it sucks that he doesn't respect the work that they did and want that to be shown in the way it was created. So we're fighting that. And this is how we fight it is illegally, basically, by making these illegal versions. So the fact that so Sony has also announced at the same time that they will be shutting down the PlayStation 3 and Vita stores in 2027. Financially, sure. Who's got a PS3 and a Vita these days that wants to play those games and pay for those games that came out in that era? And now they are still available to download. If you fire up your PS3 today, you can still download the stuff that you bought even once the store is closed. You should theoretically be able to download those titles. I don't know what happens right now if you turn on your 3DS, for fuck's sake. It's not that old a piece of kit. If you turn on the 3DS that you bought 10 years ago and try to re-download something you bought, I don't think it will work. I don't think Nintendo still even supports the online element of that hardware.
This I think is kind of the point, is like everything else, this puts us, the people, the consumers, the ones who are actually the users, who are actually the ones using the tech, at the mercy of the corporations.
Yeah.
At their whim. When Sony decides you don't have access to that, you don't have access to that.
It's so interesting that at the same week, we had Sony announced that we're no longer making physical copies of these titles, and B, we're shutting down the PS3 and Vita stores, and C, anything Studio Canal released on the Sony store, on the movie online, whatever the fuck we called it, anything that you purchased digitally is gone.
Yep.
The fact that all three of these stories came out in the same week feels like they just went, all right, let's just dump all the bad news at the same time and hope that at least some of this gets ignored.
The thing is, it doesn't even matter if it gets ignored. It's a purely financial decision. They do not care because who the fuck, what choice do people have?
Yeah,
exactly. That's it. There is no choice. They are the top dog. They are there's no serious competitor to them. So it doesn't matter.
The fact that the Duffer Brothers begged Netflix to release a physical release of Stranger Things. And I think they decided to make it because it's a big enough show that they could justify it, and they knew they were going to sell some copies. But so much of the current streaming stuff will just evaporate. If once Netflix shuts their servers down, a lot of the stuff that was produced for Netflix will just evaporate. Especially stuff that it wasn't determined to be worthy of other platforms to purchase the rights to. It will just simply cease to exist.
Well, because everything is a commodity. This is when you commoditize everything becomes ephemeral. Yeah. So nothing is preserved, nothing matters. All that matters is the transfer of financial transactions from the lower tiers to the upper tiers. Yeah. That is the process, and that is the only thing that everything exists to facilitate that process.
And the pirates have done a good job of gathering pretty much everything.
Actually, they did a bad job, but they've done the only job.
Right.
There's no other choice. Like that is the thing.
It's still pretty much everything ever created in the last 30 years is still available on some drive somewhere. But and this is the other issue we're at now, is that those burned DVDs we made 20 years ago are falling apart, and a lot of us don't know it. I haven't looked at my collection in years.
I've got a few folders full of shit.
If I put any of those into a DVD drive right now, there's a good chance that a fair chunk of it is gone.
Yeah.
And I've not bothered to look. And a lot of people are in the same boat, in the same way that they've got hard drives that have terabytes of shit on them that they're going to plug it into a drive one day and it's going to go, nope, and that's gone. So yeah, it fucking sucks, but the awareness is there. People are more aware now. They're paying more attention, and they're doing a better job of grabbing stuff.
And in a way, it's kind of a result of just the digital age in general, because digital technology is ephemeral. That is the kind of the core problem. We're not carving these things in stone tablets, right? Like,
right. And
there's no way to actually preserve these infinitely in a state that is recoverable.
We have been also trained to treat this stuff as being disposable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we live in a disposable culture.
People that own these infrastructures are telling you, don't worry about it. There's new shit.
Because everything is content.
Yeah. And that's why they love AI, because it's just infinite new content that has absolutely no fucking value.
Yeah,
but it's something to put your eyeballs on for the next few seconds.
It's the slop trough.
They're happy to let things fall apart. I mean, the fact that old Doctor Who episodes were lost because the BBC just said these tapes are more expensive. These tapes are worth more to us than the stuff that's on them.
That is a good point, because this isn't a new problem.
No, exactly. This has been happening for 50, 60 years. And it will continue to happen. So it's so important to back your shit up as often as possible, and know that you're doing the Lord's work when you're downloading this stuff.
Sail the high seas, folks.
Because the odds are, more hard drives that it's living on right now, there's a good chance that a couple of them are still going to keep going, and then you can re-upload it to the cloud.
One day you could be the person that saves Nosferatu.
Absolutely. Right? Or MST3K. I mean, Jesus. I mean, they'll tell you that was the show that said it on the goddamn show. Keep taping. Please share the tapes, I think is what it said every time, because they knew that this was the only way this shit was going to propagate, and it worked. People kept the tapes. They made copies of copies, but anyway. So right now we're still.
I don't know what the conclusion
I have a
is.
PS3. I have a lot of titles that are on it. If I plugged it in today, it might just eat shit. It might explode. I don't know. I realized just last week that I cannot play a PS3 game on my PS5. That is not an option. If I put that disc in, it just goes, nope. There is no backwards compatibility in that respect.
Right.
So I have my PS3 still. I believe it still works. If I wanted to play it, I am hopeful that it will play a disc and it will work. Now, PS3 emulation is taking off. It is getting better. And I'm still shocked by that, but it's still necessary to keep a lot of this shit alive. And it's critical that we make sure that these heroes of preservation are still taking these titles and making them available. There are still sites that are making them available for download. And there's so many digital titles that came out on PS3 that were never given physical releases and would realistically never have deserved a physical release, but they're still worth keeping and having for the record for people, for future generations to look back on. Man, it's nuts. I remember when the 3DS was dying and Nintendo announced they were killing the store. There was that one group that basically decided to get every single title available and download it to multiple 3DSs so that they archived the entire goddamn thing. Mm-hmm. And then now you've got the Switch store that is utterly over fucking loaded with slop. Like AI slop, stuff that's arguably not worth keeping. And that's where there's some level of gatekeeping involved in saying these are titles we should be keeping, and there's other shit we should let die and never be referred to again. Or you could argue that there is some legitimacy to keeping those as well as a reminder of the garbage that this
Remember
world
the slop
created.
era?
So,
As we dig through the archaeological record, these 18,000 layers right here, this is the slop era.
Oh man, it is bananas. So there's a lot of stuff that I would love to revisit in the future that was on PS3. And
your pile is growing.
Yeah,
Andrew,
well, fuck. And there was Aftermath. Our good friends at Aftermath have a great article up today that that is about. It's like, I guess this is my collection now.
That is kind of where we're at, right? Like we keep talking about this, and again, Bellular News did a very good video about like basically we play old games now, and that's what we play now. And
I guess these are the games and memories.
I'm trying to do a segue, Andrew.
Okay, I was just saying. I guess these are the games and memories I'm stuck with for the rest of my life. And it's a great article going over their collection dating back to the Commodore 64 and up until today. So
it's what we've both been talking about this for quite a while. But look at the games that are having a moment right now. Guild Wars and Warframe. Mm-hmm. 12 and 13-year-old games, respectively.
Yep.
Right? Like, there's a reason for that. And it's beyond just the fact that they were good games that got unnoticed.
Good games don't need to be photorealistic.
But yeah, that's the point. It's the fact of existing for that long means there's some substance there. And because anything new is either ephemeral or impossible to own.
Yeah.
These are like some of the only avenues people have anymore. Like,
I mean, Guild Wars is an example of a title that it's an online game. There is no single player mode.
Yep. This is Warframe 2.
It will always, both of these titles will always have to have some level of server to talk to. Now, I mean, even Omega, Marvel Heroes Omega, you can run your own server.
Yeah.
And you can host your own shit and do your own thing solo and invite your friends to play. And that's fine. And
there's a Warframe one too.
Sure. And because they recognize
I didn't say that.
Even they understand that there's
Ted O'Con. Did you know you can run your own server?
They recognize it. But the beauty is that DE is still doing extremely well, and they can have they're not looking at a scenario where they're
other stuff on top of that.
But I think even they are looking at a universe where they don't run servers anymore. Like once we get occupied, once we become the 51st state and then outlaw all game development, then theoretically people in Djibouti can fire up a server.
But this is one of the things that like both Destiny and Warframe did this, and a lot of online games do this. Left 4 Dead is another good example of this. It's not there are central servers, but those central servers, all they do is matchmake between peer-to-peer sessions.
Right.
So, like, when you load into a squad, for example, either in Destiny or in Warframe or in Left 4 Dead or a whole bunch of other titles, any title that you've got, like, a kind of limited number of people in a squad, this is probably what's happening. You are doing peer-to-peer multiplayer. There is one player that's the host. And all the central server is doing is matchmaking people, saying, okay, that person's the host. They're running the server, and then all of the stats get sent back to the central server.
Since nobody else is playing this right now, you're going to have to be hosted by a guy in South Africa. Deal with it.
There's like an ongoing like kind of thing where it's like we know now in Warframe, look at if we're having a little lag or something. Oh, so and so is probably on Switch.
Yeah.
Player one is probably on a Switch, right? Because their network is shit.
They're in Kowloon with a shared internet connection with 40 other people.
But that's exactly the same for a lot of games. But the good part about that is peer-to-peer networking is very easy to replicate. Yeah. So those are the games that, despite the fact that they are online, are very open to the possibility of having server emulation once they're no longer online. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Destiny and Destiny 2 server emulators at some point in the future. I would.
We've begged for that, and
I would be shocked if that didn't happen.
It would be nice to see somebody walk out of Bungie with a hard drive ready to go. And but right now it's still actionable from Sony. But 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if that pops up, that'll be great.
All right. So, speaking of old games, I don't know, Andrew, you're playing something new and oldish?
So I've been, again, going through the pile,
Good.
and I went with my old favorite, the Lego games.
Oh, yes.
And I've been playing the Rise of Skywalker saga, which many people have already ripped through, honestly. I mean, that came out surprisingly long time ago.
Yeah.
And so I've finally gotten around to it. And it's fun as hell. It's still a Lego game. It's definitely still running on the nostalgia at this point of the original Lego games, which were just perfect titles. They were just fun as hell, running around, smashing stuff, rebuilding, having fun with that, unlocking new characters. And this is kind of the pinnacle of it, because they're doing the entire 9-movie saga with hundreds of fucking characters. It's just overwhelming. So at some point you get to a stage where it just kind of shows you everything in every level that you can grab, and it's just an overwhelming amount of stuff that you can do. You don't have to. You know, I'm still in the let's just play through the stories, and now I can unlock the free play and get the stud increasing, so I can get 2 times, 5 times, 10 times the studs to make that meaningless. Anyway, it's still a fun game to play. It's still nice. And the first thing I did when the option came up was I turned on mumble mode, because the original Lego games, because they were international, they never did a voiceover. It was just the characters would go, huh? You know, and it was adorable. But they leaned into it for the humor, so they didn't have to worry about what they were saying. What they were doing was cartoonishly over the top, and was delightful. So you can turn on mumble mode, and the silly thing is that they're still saying dialogue. The dialogue is on the screen. And their lips are moving to the dialogue that they're supposed to say, but a lot of the times they're just going, but they're still performing it, so which is great. So there's still actors doing the material that's necessary for the mumble mode, but it's nice that they went through the trouble to actually give that as a free option, so you can still have the old school approach. So right now people are playing the Lego Batman Tales of the Dark Knight, which is like the same thing, but with all of the Batman content in one big game. And people have discovered that it's actually a tremendously fun game.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it.
So I'm looking forward to playing that game in 3 years, once that gets down to, $10 for the full unlocked version, the full Game of the Year edition with all of the bullshit. Because I think there's still an expansion coming for that one, but I don't think it's either coming in the fall. I think it's in the fall. And they still want like $120 for the fucking full version. And these games drop precipitously. So this is a perfect example of something.
Are you playing on PC?
I am playing on PS5.
Right.
Because I bought the fucking hard copy because this is what we do, and I got a deal on it when I got it, but I still got it very early and overpaid for considering that it was a PS Plus a monthly title. I'm pretty sure like a year ago.
Right.
So most people have already played it for free for part of their PS Plus subscription. That was another thing about this reaction to the Sony killing the physical version. A bunch of people jumped online and said, "I've canceled my PS Plus because of this. Fuck you, Sony." Okay, now you don't have access to a shit ton of titles that you've effectively already paid for. That'll teach them. I guess they really thought that this would make a difference. And again, it's a fundamental thing. They were not going to give you a physical copy of Wolverine. But the Nintendo gets a pass because they're Nintendo. Like, whatever. So I don't want to be that guy white knighting Sony, but it's.
I mean. Yeah, there's reality, and then there's Sony gonna Sony, just like Nintendo gonna Nintendo. Yeah. It doesn't make it right. Yeah. It's just like, of course it's gonna.
Let's also be clear, Xbox. Oh, and this is evidently something that's come out of this.
Wait, Xbox?
Yeah. So Halo Combat Evolved, the remake of Halo that's coming out on PlayStation as well as Xbox, is getting a physical release, and now they're trying to act like, hey, we're doing a physical release, everybody.
Oh yeah.
So let's all remember that Xbox is your friend. Like, bitch, your next console will not have a fucking DVD drive. Like at least Sony, you can buy a physical DVD drive.
They're trying. It's such a Microsoft thing. They're trying in the most pathetic, sad, weedy little way to like do the thing to Sony that Sony did to them that E3 where they did the whole disc handoff.
Hey, you guys can totally do that. It's like, oh yeah, is there an offline mode? What? Yeah, no, we have a physical disc. Yeah, but is there an offline mode? Also, E-Day, the Gears of War will probably not have a physical copy, but I mean, that's coming too, everybody. Don't forget to buy your physical copy of Halo Combat Evolved.
Xbox is great. Remember your Xbox is green. Xbox is green. Green.
Aftermath also had an article this week. Is basically saying that their new Xbox CEO, I can't remember her name.
Asha
Sharma she's basically a pain sponge, which is a reference to Succession. Tom Wombegans in that show basically describes himself as, he has a high threshold for pain, and the new CEO of the company basically says it's like we need a pain sponge that will basically she got to come on the scene and say Xbox is Xbox again, and we're not doing that other shitty campaign. We're good. Here's a new Xbox. Everybody gets an Xbox. Yay! We love you now, Xbox. Also, we're gonna fire a lot of people.
Yeah, no, she's the executor. Man.
Yeah,
she might as well be wearing a black.
She got a little bump. She got like, hey, look, we're your friends now. Now, in order for Xbox to continue, we're gonna have to cut some people, and we're sorry about that and everything. And also, we're increasing the price of the Xbox by $200.
What is again? This is the most Microsoft that Microsoft can be. They're doing absolutely everything possible to kill that thing. Like it is. There. I would not be like they want to get rid of it. They're trying to kill it at this point.
I guess they call it the glass cliff.
Okay.
So basically, she's going through the glass ceiling, and they're going to push her off a cliff.
Yeah.
This is a thing in the industry, evidently. This has happened a lot,
no doubt.
Where women are put into these positions, especially that are elevated and then annihilated. So,
how can she possibly win?
Yeah.
Right, like there's no way. Like
so, But I mean, if she's happy to take the abuse, she can stay in that position for years.
She's going to get paid, and then she's going to cash out.
No, I think she knows that she's going to take a lot of shit in the coming months when they start murdering huge swaths of
she's going to take shit from sweaty nerds and then go to her mansion. Like
she's going to go, we're so sorry about this, but we're totally going to release good games in the near future, so you're going to forgive me, but I'm going to stay in the line of fire because they're paying me incredibly well.
I would be shocked and delighted if Xbox has a future, but I don't honestly believe.
Yeah, I don't want it to die, but I agree. But PC has a future, and everyone should be playing more games on the PC.
So Lego Star Wars Rise of Skywalker collection.
I believe that's what it's called. Rise of Skywalker. Maybe it's just called the Skywalker Saga.
Skywalker Saga.
Yeah,
okay.
which
is good.
Yes,
and you are playing it.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to I know you were trying to do.
I was trying so hard to
mean, God bless you. Speaking of playing games on PC, as Andrew was trying to get to. Yeah, this is kind of a big deal, and we're probably going to get into the shit here. So I want you to strap in, right? Stretch.
Are we just going to dive into it?
We're just going to dive into it.
Okay.
Here we go. We're just going.
Okay.
Go. This is a precedent. We've never done this before.
That's fair. Yeah.
Andrew decided we're going to have a break in the middle of a segment, and now I'm all confused.
What's happening?
Who are you people? What are we doing here? Podcast, huh? So the one thing we didn't get to talk about between podcasts is actually the Steam Machine got released.
Yes.
And it's fine.
No, it's a solid piece of kit.
It's okay.
And had it come out at $750 American, it would have been a big success.
The problem is it's really expensive, but of course that's because everything's really expensive. So
and it also has kicked off a whole discussion about Steam Machine alternatives.
Yes,
that's what's happening now. Is like, hey, you can build something that's better than the Steam Machine for less than the cost of a Steam Machine.
Well,
kind of. I mean, the discussion is being had.
I've seen a whole bunch. So in terms of the actual hardware, honestly, for the perf that you get out of a Steam machine, you can probably build something equivalent for maybe $50 less, but it's really not that much less.
So,
and it would also be like 4 times the size.
Well, okay, a big part of the discussion is regards getting used hardware, starting with used hardware and getting a good video card in that can create something that's better than a Steam machine.
So yeah, there's so much variation around
but
that.
But the issue with that is the opposite of the big advantage that we had discussed before anybody else really, I think, talked about it. I didn't see a lot of people talking about it, where the Steam Deck became a target.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I still can't believe it wasn't talked about more. I talked about it. But it's true. It gave them a hard target to say, here is the device that people like, make games work on this.
Well, it gave them the console situation.
100%.
There was one hardware spec.
Yeah.
This is the hardware spec.
And then developers started really focusing on that. So for the Steam machine, they were trying to do it again, but all it's really done is made people aware of making a simpler PC that can run SteamOS, but that kills the ability for it to be a target.
Yeah, in a different hardware environment, this could have been a big deal, but unfortunately, because they have to charge so much for it, it's mediocre. Now, the weird thing is it's selling out super quick, and the scalpers are selling it for crazy expensive.
But that's because they weren't able to make it in scale anyway.
Yeah.
So that was never going to be viable.
So it's still weird. We don't know, but nevertheless, part and parcel with this has been a release of SteamOS in a larger scope than it has so far. So far it's been first for the Steam Deck only, then for a couple, one or two, like the Lenovo, I think, and there was another one that they officially supported with SteamOS, but that was it. It was for handhelds only. Now with the Steam machine launch, it will run. It is supported on a wider array of hardware as long as it's AMD and AMD only. So if you have an NVIDIA, AMD or Intel is also supported.
Yes.
If you have NVIDIA hardware, forget it. You don't even think about it. It ain't going to run. They are apparently working with NVIDIA, whatever that means. I can imagine those conversations are fun. Valve and NVIDIA in the same room.
Get on board.
But nevertheless, so here I want to talk about this because this is kind of a moment in the whole, like, should I switch to Linux thing, right? And of course, I have a good deal of experience with this. And I do want to do a little bit of myth busting here, and I'm not going to try to not like yuck anybody's yum. So I will be being careful about my wording, but I do think there are some very important points that need to be made about this. One thing I have seen from a lot of people who have been on the fence about switching to Linux as an alternative OS for their gaming machine is, I want to wait until SteamOS releases in wide release, because that's going to be the one for my gaming machine. That is kind of the prevailing mentality. And what everybody has been saying, everybody who's been experienced with Linux has been saying is, like, you really don't need to do that. Like, there is no Valve secret sauce that's going to happen. It's just Linux, and Linux is just Linux. This is one of the hardest things for people who are switching to Linux to wrap their heads around. One of the most common questions, of course, is what distro should I use? Because there's thousands of them, right? And there are popular ones, and there are niche ones, and it's like there's so many that clearly people are going to be like, I have no idea what to pick. And the unfortunate and unsatisfying answer is always, honestly, it doesn't matter. The only things that a quote-unquote gaming distro are going to give you is prepackaged software. That is, like, you don't have to install this yourself. It already comes installed. But that's it. In terms of performance, in terms of hardware compatibility, like all of the stuff that actually makes the computer run, there's no difference. Linux is Linux. That's just the way it is. And this is really the case with SteamOS. SteamOS, so I will say, now that SteamOS is launched in a wider, more hardware-compatible state, I have been running it on my living room box for about a week. The thing that you saw we were just looking at it right, that was SteamOS.
Okay.
On
what was it before?
Bazite.
Okay.
Now, I bet you it was indistinguishable, right?
For me, sure.
Yeah, absolutely, because it really kind of is. One of the things like Bazite and the CashieOS desktop version, handheld version, there's a couple. There's Bazite has a handheld version. CashieOS has a handheld version, and I think Nobara also has a handheld, quote-unquote handheld version, i.e. something that is trying to emulate the experience of Steam Deck, of SteamOS.
Put me on a ROG Ally.
Yeah, they're trying to be like SteamOS and emulate your experience of that. And because of that, everything that pretty much works on SteamOS will work on this. For example, Decky Loader, which is a thing that exists on SteamOS that will let you load plugins for SteamOS. Those all work on the other distros as well. You load them exactly the same way. You have GameScope. The whole thing about SteamOS is the thing that you load into by default on both your Steam Deck or SteamOS running on any other hardware is called GameScope. That is the thing. That's the not desktop is called GameScope. And that is the thing that you can load into either on SteamOS or on Bazite or on Cashie or on Nobara. It doesn't matter. It's all just that one software layer. And it really is the same thing. And that's kind of the point I wanted to make is like, in terms of numbers, of performance, and all of that kind of stuff that you may care about, there really is no difference. You could have been running Bazite this whole time and have absolutely zero difference in your experience in hardware and software compatibility, all that. In fact, your hardware compatibility would probably be better if you were running one of the more broadly available OSs, because things like Bazite, CashieOS, Nobara, they support a wider range of hardware because they are also general use Linux distros, right? The thing about SteamOS, and this is the point I really want to drive home, is their primary target is a very specific set of hardware. They're going for the Steam Deck, then they're going for the couple of handhelds that they support, then they're going for the Steam Machine, and then broadly AMD and Intel. But in that order, and in that order of priority. So if you are in that range, you're probably good. And it will run well, but it's not going to run better than anything else. And that's kind of the point I wanted to make. And I have seen from a number of places in different origins, people going, oh, I can't wait for SteamOS. SteamOS is going to be the one, right? That's going to be the one that's going to get me to change. And it's like, you kind of don't need to wait. Like, you're not getting anything. There's no advantage to doing this.
People like me imagined that they would make that SteamOS would be a very easy OS.
Yeah.
It would be something we would slap a USB drive on, you would install it, and it would just work.
Yeah.
That was the assumption.
And you're not
for
wrong,
Steam.
but that's also the case for the other OSs.
Right.
Like
we just assumed that those were going to be more problematic and
Yeah,
require pseudo commands and shit like that. When we just want to launch the OS, be able to download software easily through some sort of store or browser, and just grab what we need and not have to worry about.
I just had an idea.
stuff.
This will be fun. So if we could get you, like, I've got some spare hard drives. I could even like facilitate this to get you to take your PC. Right, we'll stick another hard drive in it, and to like, you can pick whatever operating system you want. But if you're going to build your own Steam machine, right, pick an OS, load it on, see what your experience is like. Because the experience of running, of both installing and running any other purpose-built OS like Bazite or CashieOS or Nobara for a Steam Deck or a Steam Machine-like experience, a console-like experience, is almost identical to running SteamOS. And that's kind of the point, right? So it'd kind of be funny. You can just do like a blind test of kind of like, okay, pick one of these 3, USB sticks, right? Like, see which one. Just, I'm not going to tell you which is which. You just pick one, right? That would kind of be fun. That would be a neat experience to kind of just see from the point of view of somebody who hasn't done this before.
Right.
Because I have so much experience with it, this was not a big deal. And in fact, I will say that you will probably, depending on what your hardware is, you will probably have a better experience with something that isn't so focused as SteamOS. SteamOS is very, very focused on their hardware
Yeah,
specs,
it just wants to
right?
do big screen mode, basically.
Well, so do the others, but it's more that the hardware compatibility. I had a very strange bug that I have never encountered before because I'm so used to running Linux, right? SteamOS wants to do things very much its own way. And it's almost like a standard Linux thing, but they've got their own thing too that they're doing. So what happened was, you weren't able to pick what hard drive you installed to when you install it. It assumes you've got one hard drive.
Right.
And maybe a micro SD card, but that's it. I got multiple hard drives,
Yeah,
right?
me too.
I have a system drive and I have a big bulk drive that I keep my games on.
I've got like 3 or 4 on my computer.
So that would be a problem because we don't know what drive it's going to install. It installed to the wrong drive when I installed it.
Wow.
Right. So, and there's no way, I mean, there is a way to change it, but it's a really, really bullshit complicated way and I don't want to do it. So I just lived with it. I don't know. Right. Like that's kind of the thing. But what happened was, okay, here's my situation. I've got 2 drives in my living room machine. I've got an NVMe drive, which is 1 terabyte. That's the super speedy drive. That's usually my system drive. And then I've got a 2 terabyte SSD. That's where my games live, right? Pretty standard setup there.
Sure.
What it decided was that the SSD was my drive. So it installed the system to my SSD. And then I had this 1 terabyte NVMe drive that was just kind of empty and doing nothing. Okay. So I decided, fine, I'll live with that. And I'll just install the games I played the most on the NVMe drive, and they'll have like quick access time, and that'll be fine. No problem. It doesn't really need, it doesn't access the system files all that often, so it doesn't really matter what drive that lives on. So I did the standard way of formatting and mounting the drive to a folder and all that good stuff. And I added it into my Steam library and it saw it just fine and everything was good for about a week. And then there was an update just the other day, yesterday, and it completely broke compatibility with that drive situation. So it would no longer see that drive. I tried to mount it. So there's a thing in Linux called the FS tab or the F stab if you're cool. That's the thing that tells the system when it boots up what drive to mount into what folder. It's a whole Linux thing. Drives aren't just drives. You actually have to mount them into folders. Like everything in Linux is a file, including your drives. So you have to mount a drive into a folder or a directory. And there's a very standard way of doing that, and that's the way I was doing it, and that it should have been fine. But for some reason, when I would boot into desktop mode and I would mount it manually, it would see it just fine, no problem. When I boot into game scope mode, which is the default mode, right? When you just boot it up, that's what you go into. That's the quote unquote big picture mode. It would not see the drive at all. Or if it did, it would see it as a non-Steam drive, whatever that means. And I would have no option to do anything with it. So I had to dig around and find somebody's script that would mount it as a system D thing and do a whole bunch of, I read the script and I was like, oh fuck, there's a lot of shit here that it does.
It wasn't an easy fix.
It was not it was an easy fix, but it was a stupid fix. It was I shouldn't have had to do this.
Yeah.
It should just I should just be able to mount this drive like a normal ass drive and it should just see it, and it didn't. That is not what would happen on any other OS, right? That only would happen on SteamOS because SteamOS is expecting a very specific range of hardware, right?
Exactly.
So SteamOS is perfectly cromulent. It's fine. It does the thing. It's like you got a big Steam Deck. It's exactly that. But it's no more than that. And other OSs will give you that and more, right? Like, and also a full Linux desktop and everything else that comes along with that. So I guess that's kind of the point, is like, you didn't need to wait for SteamOS to be released.
Right. Now that it's there.
And now that it is, I would still say if you have a general use computer that you want to use for gaming and also other stuff,
Yeah.
you will be much better off going with something like Bizite or CashOS, which are both very, very popular, very, very easy to use. And you will have a lovely gaming experience and also everything else. You will not have a wonderful everything else experience with SteamOS. You will have a good game experience and nothing else.
I know Russ, when he got the ROG Ally X, he used it as a PC.
Right.
And because it was Windows, it was
there
was nothing to that. So that's interesting that the SteamOS has been very focused on the hardware that's
you
out
can
there.
you can boot into desktop mode.
Same way the Steam Deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It is exactly
It is,
the
yeah.
same thing as the Steam
Of
Deck.
course.
But you kind of don't want to. It doesn't want you to,
Right.
and it isn't
shouldn't.
the way that you exactly. It is a very purpose-built thing.
Yeah.
If you have a machine that you are running as just a gaming rig and you have this very narrow band of hardware, you're going to be fine, but you would also be fine running anything else, right?
I wonder if Steam Machine even runs XBMC or something to that effect, like a media player, that's designed to talk to your network.
This has been one of my complaints about. So any software that you can install in Linux on like Flatpaks, you can install on SteamOS. Like
Right.
it's just Linux.
But
really is just
but
Linux.
does it have to run in desktop mode?
You do, but then you can just like add that into my music player that you saw.
Right.
That is actually a flat pack of a specific software package that is like a media player that's running off my Navidrome server, which is on a different machine.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a very good example of exactly what you're just talking about. Like, that is a streaming service that I am running within my own network to play my music collection. But that's a desktop application that's running under SteamOS, but I've added it in as a non-Steam game.
Right.
Right. But there's some complications.
A couple
around
of steps that
that
have got to be done.
Yeah,
That's going to scare
exactly.
off a lot of normal people.
Yeah. This is one of my complaints. And one of the things I would love to see, and this is also the case in either, Bizite or CashOS, this is the case broadly in GameScope in general and like Steam Big Picture mode, as it were. I would, if you're trying to make a machine that is a console-like experience, we really need a media player.
Yes.
It does not have that natively.
I guess they know that's a battle.
Yeah.
They
They tried once and they gave up.
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, the simple truth is people want to be able to run Netflix on their Steam machine,
Yeah.
and that's not going to happen.
I mean,
without
it is
compromise.
You can, but it's not. Yeah, you got to do some things.
it's going to be 720p because it's going to want to run in a
Oh
browser.
no, you can run it full. You can whatever. That's not the issue. The application isn't the issue. The application will just run in a Flatpak. It's just a browser. It's just a web browser. It's the same thing as everything else. But you have to go and install it and then add it into Steam as a non-Steam game, and then make sure that will run with whatever controller settings that you have. And you have to do some work to make that happen. It's not just going to happen. But in terms of like a music player that will either run like a streaming service or your own collection off the drive or something, that really should just be built into the OS. Like every other, think about what your console has, right? Xbox and PlayStation, you can just, whether it's with Spotify or Apple Music, or just you've got a bunch of MP3s on the drive, you could still play that music while you're gaming and switch tracks and change the volume levels and all that kind of stuff. That's my big complaint. That is my one thing that I want. That's my wish list item. Most desired is give me that. There are Decky loader plugins that will kind of get you there, but they are unreliable and they break a lot.
If it feels like a simple ask and they haven't done it, there's a very good reason they haven't.
Probably yes.
And that's what sucks.
Yeah.
The same way that people ask any game, like, why can't you do this? And they go, we're working on it.
Yeah.
The reality is that would require such a massive outlay because it's not as simple as you think. Or we just don't want to do it, and we're gonna fight it every chance we get.
Here's the compromise I've come to. So when I want to play music while I'm gaming on my living room machine, what I generally do is I will Bluetooth my phone to my living room machine, and I will play the audio through that, and I will just play the music player on my phone. And thankfully, there is a decky loader plugin that is a music or an audio mixer that also connects into the Bluetooth settings, and you can actually change tracks and like pause and play, which is fan-fucking-tastic, let me tell you, because I don't have to pick up my
Bluetooth,
phone.
so.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. Yeah. It works. It does the thing, and it gets you to the point because I don't have to like task out and mess with stuff. I can like change tracks on my watch if I want to. That's fine, but that's still a few thousand more steps than most normal people are willing to go through to like accomplish this. So that is the thing. But I guess kind of the point is SteamOS, it's fine. It runs on a very narrow band of hardware. If you were outside that spec, I would still recommend, if you want to build yourself a Steam Machine-like device, you're probably better off going with, I honestly, if you don't want to fuck around and you don't want to update often, go with Bazite. If you do want to fuck around and you want to update often, go with CachyOS. Yeah. But SteamOS, it's not going to give you, there's no magic. There's no...
I would probably be fine with Bazite.
Bazite will be my recommendation because Bazite is designed like it's an immutable distro, which means you cannot fuck with the system files.
And I'm not looking for nightly updates.
Yeah, no, Bazite.
Give me the most recent stable update, and I'm fine.
That is exactly what Bazite is. Bazite's what I run on all of my machines that I don't ever want to fuck with.
Right.
I run CachyOS on my desktop because I'm okay with fucking with that, but I do have a secondary drive with Bazite on it for when the time comes that CachyOS is going to fuck something up and break, and I have to, I need to get something done, then I'll go and boot into Bazite because I know that's going to work, right? That is the thing. So yeah, if you just want a thing that's going to work, Bazite is your target.
I mean, it's kind of a shame. I really, really thought that they were going to, when SteamOS got released, it was going to be a big deal, and they were going to make a big deal out of how simple it was. Look, now we've got Linux, and
but the thing is, it is, but there's been that for a while.
Exactly.
It's kind of the
it wasn't. They didn't invent it.
Yeah, there's no magic. The magic already happened. It's just like it hasn't got the name Valve attached to it, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of the thing. So, anyway, that's where we are with that. What is next on the? Oh, good Lord! It's the Warframe check-in.
The what? I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Warframe, huh? So we are.
So the new expansion hasn't released yet, or has it?
So Jade Shadows. I think we talked about Jade Shadows last time. So yeah, so that's out. Yeah, it was a bit buggy. Things have been getting much better, thankfully. We're in kind of a good place with it now. But right, so. The Church of Warframe streams have come back, thankfully. And as we did talk about last time, I did do the one last week or the week before, last week, with Cephalon Frankie. So I did do the VTuber thing last week, and it was really fun. It did work out well.
Good.
I am definitely going to do one this Sunday, because this is the last. Church of Warframe stream before the thing, TennoCon, as we have alluded to a couple times in the podcast, but never actually directly addressed.
The next podcast, Kevin's going to be like, I'm done with Warframe. Fuck this game.
Man.
This is stupid.
Who knows, man?
So fucking dumb.
What? It could be. I don't know.
I was so stupid for ever liking it. They don't deserve me.
Or I could be like... making like posing for selfies with Megan. Who knows? Who the fuck knows what's going to happen next week? But that's it, man. We are literally 1 week, literally today, 1 week away from TennoCon. Ooh,
I am, given how all we've talked about is how amazing that community is, that's going to be a room full of love. Everybody's going to be happy to be there, and I mean the only element is that most people that are going to be there have been there for a while. Have come every year.
But this is the other thing. Like, things have, for the past 2 years or so, things have popped off. You're right, in that community. So there are a lot of new people that are going to TennoCon for the first time. So much so that they have actually moved to 2 venues now. It used to only be, there's now like both the Canada Life Center and RBC Place. It used to only be RBC Place. Now they've got a second venue because it's that big now. It's like it's a lot. I have no, like I said before, I've very rarely been able to travel. I've gone to one convention literally, and you were there.
Yeah.
It was the Star Wars thing.
The important thing is keep your energy up in terms of like food and stuff. I know, because of your dietary restrictions, you just got to make sure you can get something to eat. And
as far as I'm concerned, that weekend all bets are off. I don't know.
Bring electrolytes.
I got nothing. I got to roll with it because I got nothing to base it on. So I just
it'll be delightful.
In terms of streaming, this is one practical point I wanted to bring up. So I do want to have the ability to stream while I'm there, but I honestly suspect I won't have either the time or inclination.
I think it'll also be infrastructure. I think if the number of people that are intending to stream are going to choke whatever they've got.
Who knows? I don't know what my bandwidth is going to be. I don't know what my phone coverage is going to be. So
I would record a bunch of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That is a given. But what I've done, because I've looked into it, I do have an app that I can do like RTMP streaming for my phone, but it is very limited. And because I don't know what my bandwidth restrictions are going to be, I'm going to restrict it to a single PeerTube stream. And so I will post what that stream address is going to be. If I'm able to stream, it will be at this address, but that's going to be the only one. I'm not going to stream on Twitch or OwnCast. I'm only going to stream this because PeerTube will archive it automatically.
Exactly. Has anyone from Gamers Tavern said they're going?
No one from Gamers Tavern is going.
That's too bad. So at least you can stream to them. They'll have. Be a part of that.
There will be folks there. Believe me, I know at least. Like, there's shout out Hamish, Hamish, I should say. I keep saying Hamish because Hamish is a name.
Yeah.
His actual thing is Hamish.
Yeah.
Because he's got this pig. There's a whole, it's the whole thing. Anyway, Hamish is always there. Whenever I'm streaming Warframe, Hamish is always my boy. He's always like, we're always teaming up and doing stuff. Hamish will watch the Warframe streams, particularly if I'm at TennoCon fucking streaming Warframe. It's going to be something. I don't know what to expect. I'm just gonna roll with it. I got nothing. I'm
2 weeks from now. How'd it go? I don't want to talk about it.
I'm hoping for the best, expecting the worst. What's gonna happen?
What else is going on? Is World Cup still going on? Let's talk about the World Cup. You know what? We're gonna talk about the World Cup from now on because I don't want to talk about Warframe.
I'm a sports guy now, everybody. Yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, so next week is going to be real interesting. There will be reports from the field. I will do my best to do my best, but
it's going to be great.
I got nothing. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, Warframe's good. Warframe's fun. Play Warframe. I don't know.
I will say, like in the end stages of Destiny 2, I have been playing on my PC, which I never did before. I never played on my PC. And what's been great is I have that lovely ultra-wide monitor, and having that Vista is just tremendous with Destiny. It's nice having that very large field of view. It's a 21 by 9, not a 32 by 9. 21 by 9 is the nice middle ground that I really like. And I have been playing the Edge of Fate expansion and also playing just the daily solo stuff. And again, it's just like, it's old. It's nice to go back and just kind of dick around, and I've gotten some of the new weapons, but I'm not like running raids or anything. But and I recognize that it's simply going back since it's coming to an end, and just kind of enjoying it for as it is now. And it's been obviously bittersweet. It still is. It's still. It's just so odd. I mean, it's so alien having something that's
very very strange atmosphere.
And they've been putting off the final update.
Oh yeah,
partly because they didn't want to do it last week because they had announced the layoffs, and then this week they didn't want to announce it.
And there's nobody here. We can't actually press the button.
People are playing. I mean, they're trying so.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in Bungie, yeah, but and it's been interesting because they have kept several people. Notably, they're the lore, the woman in charge of the story is still employed by Bungie. She's changed her title from Destiny 2 story manager to just story manager. So is she going into Marathon, or is she working on other elements that are still hoping to come through? It's not dead. I mean, obviously, as it stands, it's still unprecedented. We are in unprecedented territory.
Yeah.
D2 is a done deal. It is sunsetting. It will be locked down in whatever format it is, and whatever happens next will be several years down the road. If they're in, and if Sony decides, I mean, because again, it's not, they don't have a 20 million user base like other titles, which is what corporate wants. They want everyone to be playing it. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? And given that they still have given lip service to their desire for a live service world, I mean, it's still there. And if anything, it's proven that Marathon sure as fuck isn't where they're going with this. So, again, it's unprecedented. We don't know what the whims of the corporate lord shall be, but they have kept several people on who are shepherds in that world. So it's great that everybody's going to be able to move on to other titles for a while. And, the industry at large is super fucked right now. All these amazing people are now cast to the wind. Other companies will have incredible people to hire should they choose to do so. I mean, not everybody can go to fucking Rockstar and work on GTA 6 or GTA Online or whatever the fuck that turns into. But for now, I'm playing that. The new season of Diablo 4 is up. It's fine. I've started. I rolled another barbarian just to kind of get through it, and most people are a little frustrated with the new mechanic, and that's to be expected. But it's still there, and and I'm playing a bit of Lego Star Wars, and that's nice to go to as well. And in the meantime, there are the mountain still sits there waiting for me to get the wherewithal to play literally anything.
All right, well, there we go. We're kind of, that's it.
Yeah.
We did the thing. Oh boy, here we go.
Yep.
This is it.
And the next podcast will be the aftermath.
Okay, it's weird because I'm working myself up in my head for this to be either great or hugely disappointing. Like there's no middle ground. There's no point at which this is like just fine.
90% is gonna go great. 90%. I'll be generous and give you a 10% chance of oh shit, this is a fucking nightmare. But realistically, it's going to be. All you got to do is think about the people that you've dealt with online that have just been amazing.
I have actually dealt with a couple of people from DE in this process, and they've been lovely.
Yeah,
and it's been.
I think that's all you're going to find up there. The only problem is you're going to get to London and go, "What the fuck?
Oh no!
What the fuck is this place?"
No. I know what to expect there. At least I've been in places like London before. So
Jesus, you call this place London? Fuck.
You know what you got going for you, London? Warframe. That's it. Nothing else.
That's all you got.
It's only this. Anyway, all right. We are going to cut it there. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Kevin. Have fun next week.
I will do my best. Stay tuned to OperationPuppet.com for all of the links. You know the deal. If you made it this far, you are a champ. Finger on the button. And after TennoCon, we will catch you next time. You have been listening to Pixels and Puppets, the Operation Puppet podcast. Visit www.operationpuppet.com for all our links. Tell your friends, give us a rating wherever you get your podcasts, and join us again because nothing is more entertaining than aging nerds giving their opinions on the internet.